Before harvesting the mulberries, we need to make sure that we have a positive identification. Now thankfully, white mulberry is very easy to identify. Its leaves are going to be egg-shaped and glossy on top with serrated margins and varying numbers of lobes. Now as the name implies, the tree does produce berries, and they will start off green and then go to white and then turn to dark purple when fully ripened. Its bark usually has an orange sort of tint to it, and it will have a bit of a diamond pattern. Once you've identified your mulberry tree, you need to find a way to collect the berries. I like to use tarps because they're cheap, they don't stain as easily as sheets, and they can be washed quickly with a hose. Make sure to line up the tarps under the branches with the berries that you are going after. As we can see, this tree has a lot of ripened berries on it that are ready for harvesting. There are multiple ways to get the berries from the branches. Some like to just sit the tarps under the tree and wait, however, I like to use something to shake the branches. In this case, I'm going to be using a long shepherd hook for hanging baskets. So just get your implement and grab a branch and then start shaking vigorously to get the berries to fall off. Make sure to weigh down your tarp so it doesn't blow all of your berries off like what happened to me. Now after just a couple of minutes of shaking one branch, we already have a decent amount of berries. However, there's a few more branches that we need to get to, but they're up really high. So another method I like to use to get the berries down, and this is my preferred method, is to use a grappling hook. If you do not have a grappling hook, you can improvise one with a deer antler like I have done here. At that point, you just toss it up onto the branch and then start shaking. It may take you a few tries to really get a good hold of a branch, but I find this easier to reach the higher up branches than other methods. Now as we can see, these methods are extremely quick. I nearly filled up this gallon bowl in about 6 or 7 minutes of shaking. Notice all of the little bugs flying around? Well, I'm going to show you how to get rid of those next. First, go through and pick out any unripened berries that have made it into your bowl. This step is important because the unripe berries are rather bitter and slightly hallucinogenic. Now, to remove the bugs, I like to use salt water. Well, don't worry, they won't be in it long enough to make the berries bitter. I like to use about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of salt for every 3/4 of a gallon of water. However, you may adjust this slightly for your own preference. And after getting them covered in the salt water, I like to let them sit for about 5 minutes, making sure to shake just a couple of times. Make sure you keep an eye out for berries with bug eggs on them, like you can see here. Then, after your berries have sat for a few minutes, make sure to rinse them off well and then let them fully drain of the water. Now the final step is to remove the green stems, as they too are rather bitter. And after that, your mulberries are ready for any recipe that you wish.